Welcome to Module 2A, Characteristics of an Entrepreneur. We will also discuss about finding ideas for a new business or for a new innovation within an existing business. Our objectives in this module are to, again, you can see them on the screen, describe the main characteristics of an entrepreneur. We're going to talk about role models and mentors and the importance of a support network. We're going to look at inventors and entrepreneurs and how they differ and what their impact is. We will also discuss other things. The taking of advice, again, the mentoring role, and the things that are outside your control, what I call luck. And lastly, we will take a look at how to come up with new ideas or ideas in general for a new business or opportunity. It's said, and the text points out, that there is no true entrepreneurial profile. The term that the text uses, locus of control, basically means that the entrepreneur wants to be in charge. They are very focused on themselves, very focused on having a say in what happens as opposed to just going along. They tend to lead and not necessarily follow. As a general rule, entrepreneurs have a high need for independence and a need for achievement, recognition perhaps, a feeling that they've accomplished something. And of course, risk-taking is part of the process of being an entrepreneur. Nothing is guaranteed. Well, let's take a look at some elements of the entrepreneur. Bill Gates, the epitome of an entrepreneur. He's off doing other things now, but when he started Microsoft, he was indeed a classic entrepreneur. Why do you think firstborn might be important? Well, perhaps the firstborn child gets a lot of responsibility. He gets to parent his younger siblings, has a great deal of control over them, directs them, is looked on as a resource to mom and dad, and tends to grow up in that environment usually accepting that responsibility. Does Bill Gates have a good ability to deal with people? Good people skills? Absolutely. Although perhaps early on he was characterized as a nerd or a computer geek, certainly at this point in time, or certainly as he got into the business, he had to deal with employees, customers, investors, had to have the people skills. Possesses a winning image, wants to lead, always puts on the positive, is able to put up a positive image even though things may not be so good at times. In good times, you're the winner. In bad times, you have to be the rock, the stability to keep things afloat and keep things moving in the right direction. The text points out that entrepreneurs are fairly young. Probably the reason for this is that you're looking forward to building a career, looking forward to building a business. May not have a whole lot of responsibilities at that particular point in time, don't have kids in college, debts may be fairly limited, although you may have your student loans. But I would challenge that a little bit. We're seeing more entrepreneurs starting in, say, a second career kind of thing, and we'll talk more about that. Again, typically, the entrepreneur has the technical knowledge and thinks he or she can apply it better than the company that they're working for, this big company. Again, if you're looking at corporate entrepreneurship, well, maybe you're the maverick within the company and you want your own business unit, you want to go off and do your own thing. Role models play an important part. Certainly, your parents, your relatives, other entrepreneurs that you may know are important and provide a good resource. One of the handouts that we have is from the Enterprise Development Center here at NJIT. That's one of the supplemental materials that you'll find on the Moodle site for this week. And the Enterprise Development Center is a small business incubator. It provides a place. It's located in Newark, adjacent to the NJIT campus on Warren Street, and provides a home for new venture, new companies, new startups, and for a relatively low price, you get either office space or a lab, whatever you need, complete with the cabling and wiring and everything that you need for your computers and your communications. Of course, you provide your own computers, and they can arrange for the phone service to be hooked up. You have use of their conference room, their reception area, their answering service receptionist. Again, a nice way for a small business to start up. And just as importantly, there are resources there to give you advice and guidance as you go along. I'm proud to be part of that organization, and I provide general business legal advice to not only the incubator itself, but to its its companies that are in there. And when I say general business advice, I mean things like employment agreements, non-disclosure agreements, asking questions about general legality. They have other attorneys who specialize in patents and trademarks. That's not my expertise, although I do know quite a bit about them, and we'll be talking about them in this course. But again, they also have accountants, marketing consultants available, and lots of other people to give advice. These people, including myself, act as mentors to help get people started and help businesses get rolling. And they have monthly meetings to discuss common issues and problems, and provide a support network amongst all of those who are getting their businesses off the ground. And you find out that, gee whiz, everybody else has got the same or similar problem that you have. And of course, the advice, the counseling is just invaluable, okay? And it's free. It's built into the costs. The textbook spends a little bit of time on men versus women. I don't know if these are valid, to be perfectly honest. We see very high-powered female entrepreneurs. We see managers running companies. Carly Fiorina, who ran Hewlett-Packard. I really don't like to, I don't like to take a position on this, all right? If you feel that men are more likely to start a manufacturing business or high-tech business, and women are more likely to start a service business. Fine, that's up to you. But I don't think that it really makes that much difference. This last thing, though, is still a problem. Unfortunately, most of the finance market is still dominated by males, and what we are seeing, fortunately, is a group of investors, a group of what you'll find out later are called business angels that focus on women-owned businesses. The character here on the left is Albert Einstein, or supposed to be, and the textbook talks about him. And the problem arises if an inventor is in charge of the business. What typically happens when an inventor runs the business? If you are the inventor and you have developed a product, how do you want that product? You want that product out in the marketplace, but in what fashion? Well, typically you want it out there in a wonderful, almost perfect fashion. You want, if it's software, you want it bug-free before you release it, because it's your baby, it's your child, it's your creation, and you're very proud of it, and you have a reputation that you want to either develop or protect. And you may hang on to it too long. On the other hand, and the other caricature is supposedly Henry Ford, which is perhaps unfair to the late Mr. Ford, but he is characterized as an entrepreneur or marketing guy. And typically, the entrepreneur/marketing person wants to push it out the door. Why? Because of the window of opportunity. Because you need to get it out there while the market is still there, before somebody else comes in and grabs market share and you see your market deteriorate. You're too late. The inventor, again, may miss the window just by wanting it perfect and waiting to release it. The entrepreneur, as the Dilbert cartoons once said, let's get it out there and hope somebody writes a dummies book for it. We haven't got time to wait for documentation and other things. In a similar sense, you really want to learn all the jobs in your company. You really need, even though you're not going to do them, you're really going to need to know what goes on in your company and how things are done, even though you're the boss. Okay? For example, suppose you have a small office and you're doing things and getting out proposals, sending out proposals or something like that, and your administrative assistant, office manager, whatever you call that person, is out today. And the copier runs out of toner. Well, hopefully you know how to put the toner in the copier, get the copier working, that you have taken the time to learn some of these nitty-gritty details that can make the difference between success and failure. I don't know if any of you remember the first Jurassic Park movie. Who was the bad guy in Jurassic Park? Wasn't it the computer guy, heavy-set computer guy who sabotaged the computers so that he could get the dinosaur embryo and that kind of thing? the hero or the owner, the inventor of Jurassic Park, the old guy, uh, had his entire business at risk, at the mercy of someone else over which he had limited control. Okay, let's suppose you have your own little business, and part of that business involves a website with an e-commerce capability. You know, order online and pay via credit card, that kind of thing. You outsource that to somebody. They develop it for you. You better make sure that you have enough documentation and that either you or someone very close to you, and perhaps more than one person, knows that how it is built, how it is set up, how it is maintained. Because if it fails and that original designer has retired, passed on, whatever, gone off to do something else, you may be dead in the water, and your business may fail just because of that one key element. So don't trust your webmaster. Make sure that you understand, or make sure if you don't have the capability, make sure you have some backup people who do understand what's going on. Another one of the handouts are the great innovators. And if you haven't read those little profiles, those two profiles, please do so. All right. Doug Engelbart is the classic inventor. He never got rich. Didn't capitalize on it. On the other hand, Akio Morita, the head of Sony, is the epitome of the entrepreneur. As the article points out, a salesman and a risk taker. Which one is better? I don't know if there's an answer for better. All right. They had different orientations, different desires. Just different people with different motivations and wanting to accomplish different things. One of the discussion board postings that is available involves Tim Berners-Lee, who is credited with inventing the World Wide Web. Again, that posting poses the question of, was Tim Berners-Lee an inventor, an entrepreneur, a little bit of both? What did he do? Should he have patented his idea on the World Wide Web? Or was he right by leaving it in the public domain? The opening case in this chapter talks about FedEx, Fred Smith, and the fact that, so legend has it, and there is some debate as to whether or not this was real, but supposedly when he was working on his MBA, I believe at Yale, he did a business plan and was given a grade of C because it was totally impractical. No one could compete with the U.S. Post Office. It was just a dumb idea. Well, it wasn't so dumb. You can read the story. He had some problems. It took him a long time to get off the ground. I believe his family sued him, in fact, because he had squandered a lot of money. But he did make it work. A similar example comes from my own background. My daughter, when she was at what was then Trenton State College, I believe College of New Jersey now, did a business plan. She and a couple of her teammates did a business plan on a remote car starter, a device that remote control device that you could start your automobile up from inside the house. on a winter's day, so it'd be nice and warm when you went out there to get in and go to work or take the kiddies to school. Her professor down there gave them a C. Again, a totally stupid idea. No market, no one would buy it. Just impractical. Again, she'd like to catch that professor and wring his neck at this point in time. Because obviously it is a product and somebody made it work. When you do your business plan as part of this course, one thing that I will not grade, repeat, not grade, is the practicality of the business. If I was so smart, I'd be a millionaire. I'm not. I will grade, the business plans will be graded based upon the thought, the reasoning, the level of creativity that goes into it, and whether or not it makes sense from, as we talked about in a prior module, can it work? Not whether or not the idea is great or not. I talked a few minutes ago about advice and said that it's important to take advice from mentors and counselors and your parents and relatives, but make sure you evaluate it. What's their background? Years ago, there were people who quite honestly said, look, you should work for the phone company or the post office. You're always going to have a job. During the Great Depression, there was no, losses of jobs. You need the stability. I know lots of people in that 20, 30 years ago said, I am working for New Jersey Bell Telephone, and I will work for New Jersey Bell Telephone for the rest of my life, and I know I have a job with them until I retire. Not true these days, okay? Things change. Things change. When you get advice from someone, evaluate it. Get it from multiple sources. Ask the same question of different people. One of the reasons that my biography is in the syllabus is not to impress you, but rather to give you an idea of what my experience is, where I've come from, and a lot of the things that I say are my opinion. You can agree with it or not agree with it as you see fit, all right? But you should understand where I come from. I'm an attorney, but I am a small business person as well. I believe in small business. My background is high tech, but that's not necessarily meaning that I believe only in high tech businesses. Again, when you get advice from someone, figure out who you're getting it from and, evaluate it carefully. Do you believe in luck? I do. Okay. Both good luck and bad luck. Sometimes you're in the right place at the right time. Much of my success was not planned. It was the good luck of meeting the right people at the right time, but also being smart enough to recognize that opportunity. Things outside your control. Look at inventions, accidental breakthrough discoveries, Post-it notes, okay, the little yellow notes with the sticky notes, technically called Post-it notes. It was an accident. It was something done by a secretary at 3M, but again, the people who saw it had the wisdom and the smarts to capitalize on it and make it a product. Classic movies. I'm a classic movies fan. I don't know if you know or remember the Pink Panther series of movies that came out in the 1960s and 1970s. They're classics, and you can see them, and of course get them on DVDs and watch them on the Turner Movie Classics and American Movie Classics channels. Well, Peter Sellers, Inspector Clouseau, he was not the first choice. It was kind of accidental. Peter Ustinov was the first choice for Inspector Clouseau, and David Niven was the star. Peter Sellers happened to meet the director when they were first putting this movie together and starting and planning on filming it and getting the storyboard done. Sellers happened to meet him in a restaurant, and they talked about the movie, and the director said, wait a minute, this is the person for Inspector Clouseau. This is the actor we need. And even though David Niven was the star, Peter Sellers kind of took over and usurped the role and is really the individual known as the key character in Pink Panther. Again, a chance meeting, but capitalizing on. One of the things you want to do is to invest the time, invest the effort. You never know. You happen to go to a meeting, maybe an alumni meeting, maybe a meeting in small business, maybe a Chamber of Commerce meeting. Who knows? I got into teaching here at NJIT strictly through attending one of the alumni meetings and speaking up and talking about ways to do things, and one thing led to another, and over a course of time I had the opportunity and of course the pleasure to teach here at NJIT. You have to invest the effort. You never know what's going to happen. And of course you want to turn a problem into an opportunity. These old motivational posters, the green is surrounded by sand traps, or is in the middle of the sand traps is the green. That kind of thing. An example. You have been a supplier to a particular company and to this manager for quite a few years, and have a good relationship with her, and have provided them with whatever service or product that you provide, your company provides. Well, that person leaves, that manager leaves. New person comes in. Oh boy, we're in trouble now. This new person doesn't know me. This new manager may have a friend or a relative in the same business that we're in. We may lose this account. We may not do business with this company anymore. Problem. Well, how do we make it an opportunity? One of the things you can do is you call up this new manager, introduce yourself, say, hey, I've been working with your company for the last 10 years, and with, Ms. Smith, your predecessor, for the last 10 years. I know her department, I know what she needs, and we've managed to provide it these last 10 years. I would like to come in and meet with you, and maybe we can sit down and have lunch together and just chat a little bit about your thoughts, what you see coming into the job, where I might be able to help. And of course, when you do meet with that person, you take that approach and don't tell them how to do their job. See what they see as things that should change, or be refined, a different approach, their management style, but make it clear that this end of the business as well as the prior manager, and could be a very valuable resource to this new manager. I have all the background, I have all the information, I have all the files. If you have a question, even if it's not directly related to business that you or business or product or service that you want from me, but if you just need some background as to why things were done in a certain way, please call me anytime, and I'd be happy to chat with you and share my knowledge, share my experience. You may wind up getting more business out of it. Okay, the next idea, or the next topic rather, is finding some of these ideas. And we're going to talk about this more in product planning and the business planning portion. But initially, we got to see where ideas can come from. Of course, from consumers. Look around, see what people want. Talk to folks. What could be improved upon? What could be done better? Do people really want a remote car starter? Does the existing products? Look at existing companies. See if there are ways to improve their products. Example. One of the things that I had looked at for quite a while, I am fortunate enough we have a swimming pool, and during the summer I go out on would go out on a floating lounge chair in the pool, and if you've ever seen these things in the ads, what's on them? Some nice young lady who weighs all of about 125 pounds, and she's floating there with her drink in the holder and floating nice and comfortably on top of the water in the swimming pool. Well, you put somebody of my size and weight on that chair, and guess what? My martini has got pool water in it. It's underwater. Not a good idea. And I kept saying, they ought to come out with a weight-rated set of lounge chairs, of floating lounge chairs. Well, guess what? About a year ago, they did. Niche market. Product improvement. Are they more expensive than the other ones? Of course. But somebody came up with a way to improve the product. Talk to your channels. Talk to your shop owners, your retailers, your distributors. Why are people buying your products, or what kind of problems do they have with the existing products? If you're in the lawnmower business, making lawnmowers, talk to your dealers, because dealers typically will sell more than one brand. And which brand sells the most and why? What could we do to improve our brand? Again, particularly if you're a product manufacturer and you're dealing through either retailers and or wholesalers, you're further away from the consumer, from the customer. So they may have a better idea of what's going on. Federal government has things, and while the text talks about the patent office, there's also another thing called CRADA, C-R-A-D-A. CRADA stands for Cooperative Research and Development Agreement. Cooperative Research and Development Agreement. A CRADA is basically an agreement in which the government gives you money, not a loan, they give you a grant to develop, to research a particular area, a technology, a product, or a service. But a lot of it is related to products. And in return, the government gets to use that product, that technology, for free. And they can competitive bid it and have other companies build it for their government purposes. Typically, this is in the defense arena. That's where it's very, very common. However, you keep the commercial rights to that technology. So if that technology is usable, say, for as some sort of add-on to, say, a global positioning, GPS system, or something like that. Again, the military would use it for their purposes without giving you any royalties, but you could take this into the commercial market and you would own it, you would keep the rights. So there are lots of ideas coming, things. One of the places you would look is a document called Commerce Business Daily. It's available online and in print, and what it is the federal government looking for products, looking for technologies, looking for studies, and it's a place where things such as requests for proposals are announced. So very, very important. Lastly, you can do your own research and development. That tends to cost money. Sometimes you can get grants. We'll talk about funding later in the course. But there are some grants and loans available to do R&D, but again, it's somewhat expensive to do R&D. How do we generate these ideas? Well, a number of varieties. Focus groups are used. Colgate and other consumer product oriented companies, the cereal companies and things like that, use focus groups of consumers to test things and get feedback. A major way of generating ideas is brainstorming. Get a group together and just start putting down ideas as widely and as broadly as possible. The key to brainstorming is that no criticism is allowed. You don't want to start weeding out ideas at this point. You just want to think very, very broadly, very widely. There are, again, posted on Moodle here are several other supplemental articles that talk about brainstorming, that talk about the company IDEO and how they do brainstorming and some of the pluses and minuses of brainstorming. And another idea that the text talks about is problem inventory. What's wrong with the existing products? For example, one of the things with lawnmowers, I mentioned before, the kill switch. If anybody here anybody listening cuts the grass, right? The safety folks made them build lawnmowers that when you release the handle, the motor dies, which means every time you take the bag off to dump the grass clippings, or you stop to move a rock or something, you have to restart the mower. And what did people do? How did people solve that? They took duct tape and taped down that kill switch so that the mower didn't stop. Of course, brake clutch lawnmowers where the blade stops but the motor keeps going is an answer, but a somewhat expensive answer. But again, listing those problems and then trying to figure out how to solve them. Okay. In our next module, we're going to talk about the business plan, why do you need it, I'll look at the various parts and who the audience is and why. Please join me in the next module. Thank you.